going on, vinyl community? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a little mini vinyl haul showcasing some records that I got while record shopping in Philadelphia recently. On Friday, May 12th, I found myself in the city of brotherly love, mainly to catch the Olivia Jean show at Milk Boy that night, but we'll get into that later on in this video. But I figured that I would make it a day trip for me, spend a couple of hours in the city, and maybe if I had the time, check out a record store or two, or in this case, possibly three. And at the end of the day, I picked up a rather solid haul that I felt was sufficient enough for its own video, instead of just pushing it all into like my monthly vinyl haul videos. So I asked on social media if you guys wanted to see a Philly record haul type video, and the majority of you said yes, so I am providing you this video. But while I am happy to do so, looking back in retrospect, it was a missed opportunity to do a sort of record store vlog type video where I filmed bits and pieces at all these various stores. And that's just mainly because I really kind of wasn't thinking on making like content for the channel specifically for this trip. But needless to say, there will be a video coming in the future whenever that time comes where I actually will roll footage at these stores and shine a light on them, because they are absolutely phenomenal. And honestly, that could be a multi-part thing, because Philadelphia has quite a good amount of record stores in the area. But the area that I found myself in, there were just three kind of within walking distance. So that's the emphasis of this video here. So enough the chit chat, let's jump into what this video is all about. So starting off with the first and main store that I wanted to check out during my travels, and that was Repo Records. Now Repo is basically your quintessential indie record store. They carry a lot of stuff, you know, hitting a certain demographic, that being, you know, the indie rock kind of crowd, but they also have a bit of hip hop, a little bit of metal, some punk, classic rock. They honestly have a little bit of everything, and it was honestly such a really cool shop. They had a lot of cool exclusive merch promoting the shop as well that was, you know, designed by local artists and such. An absolutely killer store. And it's crazy how much it had changed, because the last time that I was at Repo was roughly 12 years ago, and this was before I became a vinyl collector. So I have some vague memories of how it looked then, and then coming to it now, it was like a total 180. But needless to say, this was a nice little indicator of what was to come, because I found myself digging in the punk section and I came across this compilation that I had been wanting to get for several months. And granted, I've had opportunities in the past to get it, but when I saw it there, it was like sight unseen, I must snag this. And that is The Cramps Off the Bone. This is a compilation that brings together some of the Cramps early stuff from 78 to roughly 83. So on this comp, you have Human Fly, Surfin' Bird, Garbage Man, Goo Goo Muck. If you're looking for a solid Cramps primer, this is the collection to get. And also my coworkers are big Cramps fans. They've been playing their stuff in the shop all the time, and it was only a matter of time before I got their stuff. I actually came close to getting another Cramps comp. It's the one that's the yellow album cover. The song's, not the song, the title is escaping me right now. It was in my hands when I went to Riverbend Records with the youngest members of the VC during our trip to St. Louis, but I didn't pick it up then. So I figured it was either between this or that, because there's some songs that are kind of duplicated across the two. But from what I understand, this is the more kind of authorized one, since the previous one was basically a label fulfillment for IRS. But anyways, I digress. But this is an unofficial press. It does come with a cool sort of 3D looking cover. And of course, because it's designed that way, you do have a pair of handy dandy 3D glasses. That way you can look at the 3D artwork, which is quite vibrant, I must say. And this particular pressing comes pressed on a sort of marbled light green colored vinyl, and as you can see, that 3D effect appears on the labels as well. So I'm very happy to finally get some Cramps in my collection, and I'm sure, like I said, my coworkers are very proud of me. And then up on the wall, there was also a selection of various unofficial 7-inches for various, like, you know, punk bands. Like there was Misfits, Black Flag, and a few others. But I saw this Bowie one that I kind of bought on impulse, and then I did some research later on just because it looked kind of interesting. But this right here is a 7-inch that comprises of Space Oddity, Moon Age Daydream, and then on the flip side, it's Life on Mars and It Ain't Easy. This was an EP that came out as a promo piece back in '72. So obviously, as you can tell by the track list on this, it features tracks from albums such as Space Oddity, Hunky Dory, and Ziggy. And for some reason, there's an unofficial press of it, which I thought was quite unique. So this is the front of that EP, and then here's a cool era photo on the backside. And this comes on the yellow RCA promo label there. Hopefully if you guys can see that right there, which is very nice. So kind of like I said, bought it on impulse, did my research later, and I was quite pleased with it since it is a cool little collectible Bowie piece. So that was all that I got at Repo. And then once I was at the counter, I asked the owner if what are some other reputable shops to check out. And he kind of asked me what I was into. And basically I just said classic, hard, progressive rock, a little bit of, you know, stoner, doom metal, whatever. And right off the bat, he had suggested Digital Underground / Vinyl Altar, which was actually just up a block and then turn a couple ways. It was up on 4th Street. And sure enough, that was my next stop for the day. And I gotta say, this place, if you are a metalhead and you're looking for new metal vinyl, Vinyl Altar / Digital Underground is the place to go. And honestly, given that it was mostly new vinyl too, it was very much up to my speed. A killer selection of not just like metal, but they had some, you know, regular, you know, some sort of classic rock type stuff. I was really pleased to see a lot of stuff from the Riding Easy label, which is home of, you know, Blackwater Holy Light, Electric Citizen, Brown Acid. You know, that's a label that I tend to follow depending on whoever the artist is. So to see a good emphasis on that stuff at that shop was really, really cool. And they also had a bunch of like film soundtracks, video game soundtracks, some more kind of darker, more obscure, kind of hard rock metal stuff. They even had a couple of local pieces in there. Overall, very solid selection. And I definitely could have done some immense damage with what I had in my hands, but I decided to kind of push the brakes a little bit and stick to playing it safe. At least I said it at that time, and then I went to the other store and that all went out the window. But anyways, right up at the front of the register, I saw this and I was intrigued with it. This is Big Brother and the Holding Company live at the Monterey Pop Festival. I have found myself getting these sort of Monterey live releases for the past several record store days. Between there was the Who release, there was Jefferson Airplane, and then I came across this. So I figured, you know, if this is, you know, a part of a series, and if I'm going to attempt to check out more of these, you know, Monterey releases based on the artists that have played there and what gets released, I might as well keep building. And surprisingly enough, I do not have any Big Brother and the Holding Company albums in my collection. Yes, I have Solo Janice, but not any Big Brother. But that's been needing to change. I've been needing to get some Big Brother stuff. But this is a Record Store Day Black Friday pressing. This was back in 2021, so this is definitely one that I remember coming out, but it just kind of passed me by. It does come with a nice printed inner sleeve with a scan of the tape box, and then we have various bits of liner notes on this side. And this pressing comes pressed on a nice sort of translucent marbled purple vinyl, which looks absolutely gorgeous looking, which was very nice to get. And then speaking of Riding Easy Records, they're a label, like I said, if I see something that's on the label, I will check it out kind of on impulse. And I came across this in the miscellaneous section. Now, this was kind of like discounted stuff that had been there probably for several years. I'm going to guess that this had been there for a long time just based on the year that it came out, and no one probably just thought to really check it out, and they discounted it into like the single digits. I got this for $9, still sealed. And there was even a sticker saying what color the vinyl was and how limited it was. But anyways, this band is called Swamp. and this is Swamp 2, so this is their second album. Literally, upon listening to a couple seconds on Apple Music, this is traditional, you know, classic hard rock, stoner rock type stuff, you know, very derivative of the 70s. So if you're into that kind of thing, then definitely check this out. Like I said, I listened to a couple seconds and I was like, okay, I can get behind this. So sometimes buying things just on quick impulses like that make it kind of exciting to kind of sink your teeth into. But this came out back in 2018, and I'm guessing it just kind of went under the radar and they discounted it heavily. And, you know, $9 later, it fell in someone's hands, and that someone is myself. Now, this also comes on a sort of slightly translucent marble purple vinyl as well, and this is also limited to 500 copies as well, based on the sticker that was on the shrink wrap. And as you can see, you have the Riding Easy label there as well, which looks very, very nice. So now that I have Swamp 2, I gotta hunt down Swamp 1. I didn't see it at the shop, so I'm gonna have to dig back a little bit and check that out. So that was all that I got at Digital Underground / Vinyl Altar. And then I saw that there was another record store on that same street just across the road called Crate Diggers Records. And I had asked the guy that rang me up how that shop was. And he said that there was a major emphasis on like R&B and hip hop, but they have a little bit of everything. So I figured just by judging on that sort of notice, I should at least just walk in and take a look for myself, because if they have a little bit of everything, they might have something that I'm looking for. So sure enough, I walk in, they have a small little rock section, and then the whole other section was all R&B and hip hop. So thumb through the rock stuff, and I literally look up, and there's like a small little like holy moly wall section, and I saw this record there, and I saw the price on it. I didn't spend too much for it, but given that it is out of print and it hasn't been repressed, and also my buddy Patrick had a copy of it, and I tried to get it off of him for a trade deal, and he just couldn't bring himself to do it. So needless to say, my time had come, and I picked up, finally, Truth and Janie, No Rest for the Wicked. This is a privately pressed album dating back to around 1975. If you are into like early Rush and Mountain and just all that classic, you know, mid-70s hard rock type stuff, you will absolutely love this record. And upon listening to it for the first time, and when my buddy Patrick played it in the shop that we work at, it was just love at first listen. And I've been wanting to get my hands on a copy of this. Came close to getting it on a Whatnot show, but that just kind of completely fell through, and it was kind of going at a price range that I felt was a little out of my comfort zone. But when I saw what this was priced at, granted it was a little steep, and I came close to not getting it, but I thought to myself, what if I don't ever see this out in the wild again? These are the sort of, you know, instant questions a collector asks himself while they're out on the prowl. And sure enough, I made the decision to get this. They had another Truth and Janie record too. There was this one, and then there was also a double live album called Truth and Janie Erupts from like 76. But I figured I would just get the main album itself. I think the live album is actually cheaper, but regardless. Classic cover here with the full stack, and then you got the Fender guitar, the cymbals, and you have the little hand kind of reaching out for the amp, which is kind of ahead of the time, sort of, for just a privately pressed album from the 70s. And there's also a nice insert with a little history write-up on the band, as well as the lyrics. And this also does come pressed on the original Montrose Records label, which you can see right there. So very happy that I got my hands on this, and who's to say that I might never see it again. You know, you never really know until they reprice it later on, and I'm gonna feel like an idiot for spending so much. But I'm very happy to get my hands on this. And then, of course, while I was thumbing through the records, the coworker that was working there had on this next album that I had to ask. I'm like, what is this that's playing? And he said that he would sell me it for a little bit cheaper than what it typically goes for. He said that he was expecting more copies to come in, but he would sell me the in-store copy for a discounted price. And I was like, I will take it. And the album that I am talking about is the eponymous release of Andromeda. This is a killer progressive hard rock album that came out back in 1969. And it's one of those cases where the band didn't really kind of get off the ground. Originals of this go for about $500, and this reissue cost me $30. And so you can't really complain about that. Nice, thick, glossy tip-on jacket. There's a little Obi-esque type strip on there, which is very cool. And then inside, there's a nice fold-out insert with a little backstory behind the album and various photos. So literally just upon hearing it, you know, that's one of the fun things. Like when you hear a record being played and it sounds so good to your ears and you decide to buy it kind of sight unseen, it's just, it locks in that memory of you going to that particular shop where you found it. So despite crate diggers being a little bit out of my reach, sort of in terms of what they specialized in, I did leave with some intense heat here. So I was very happy with what I got. Now, in terms of record stores, that's all that I went to, but there was more vinyl to be purchased because when I go to shows, whether it's small shows or big shows, if there are records available at the merch booth, I will buy them because let's face it, you know, t-shirts are cool, but you know, $40 later, you wear them so many times, you know, the design starts to fade away. I'm being hypocritical because the shirt that I'm wearing, I got at the show. But anyways, like I said, the main reason that I was in Philly for the day was to see Olivia Jean at Milk Boy. Now, Olivia Jean, of course, is on Third Man Records. She was in the Black Bell. She's cut a couple of solo albums, and she also recently just married Jack White. And she just released a new album called Raving Ghost, which I wrote a great review on trackingangle.com if you want to peel back and check that out. But needless to say, as you will see in my monthly vinyl haul, I did pick up the indie exclusive variant, which I'll show in that video. But for the purposes of going to the show, I did pick up the standard black version, and as you can see there, it was signed by Olivia. Because the venue was one of those places where like the band had to walk onto the stage from like the side of the audience from all the way in the back. There was like no backstage area, but literally I was third in line, had a nice sweet spot right at the front of the stage. There was no barrier. And listen, it's been a hot minute since I went to a small show with live amps, and let me tell you, my ears were ringing by the end of the night. But it was an absolutely phenomenal show. Olivia did a fantastic set of tracks off of all three of her solo albums with a heavy emphasis on Raving Ghost, which is a phenomenal record. And just given, you know, the memories that are locked in with records, you know, yes, while I have the indie version, I have the standard black version as a momentum of the show. And of course, to have it signed by the woman herself. And also inside, obviously, I'll showcase everything. We have a nice insert here with lyrics, photos, and credits. And like I said, this one comes pressed on black vinyl. Nice custom center labels here. And also housed inside is the set list for the show. Now, this was Olivia's set list, and like, each member had their own set written out of like various like, you know, settings and effects and whatnot. This was the one that Olivia put right in front of her mic stand. And given how small the stage was and where I was standing, like I literally just reached over the monitor that was right in front of me and just grabbed it at the end of the show and stuffed this in my pocket before anyone else could grab it out of my hand. So I was very happy to get this. And I'm going to go off of the assumption that this is her actual handwriting on this set list. So very, very cool stuff. Now, obviously, as I was talking about t-shirts and such, obviously, this is the Olivia Jean shirt that I did pick up at the show, which is very nice. Nice kind of tight fit, too, which I like those kind of shirts. And this is a cool glow-in-the-dark design, too. So when you wear this out in the dark, the kind of green eyes sort of light up, which is nice. I also picked up a tote bag, mainly for the purpose that the brown paper bag that was holding all the records I bought had a little bit of beer spilled on them since I had it down on the ground. So I kind of got this bag as a saving grace, but also it looks cool. And then I got the Olivia shirt, and then I also picked up a t-shirt of the opening act, which was Leggy, and they were absolutely phenomenal. Kind of reminded me musically of like Paramore and Speedy Ortiz. Had a nice sort of indie pop touch with a little hint of like 90s grunge. They were absolutely killer, and they were hanging around the merch booth after the show, selling their merch, as well as Olivia's band. They were all kind of hanging around with everyone, and I was able to meet all the members of Olivia's band and Leggy, and I picked up their record that they had for sale there, which was this one here, and this album is called Let Me Know Your Moon. I believe this came out back in 2019 because they were pushing an album that they said that they just, self-released. So when I listen to this, I can pick out which songs were played at the show. But as you can see on the cover, they did go ahead and sign it for me, which was very nice. Cool bit of artwork. Nice insert here with lyrics and photos. And there's also a nice little download card. And this comes pressed on nice baby blue vinyl, which looks absolutely sick. So overall, it was just an absolutely fantastic day full of solid record finds, as well as a great evening of great music and great memories, as you saw with the various cool bits of vinyl and souvenirs that I got my hands on. So there you guys go. That is my little vinyl haul of records that I picked up while shopping in Philadelphia. And like I said, once again, I promised there was going to be another Philly sort of record store vlog type video where I actually will roll footage at these stores. And I can say that, while I didn't expect myself to go on a little bit of a shopping bender with this particular trip, this is going to be my last sort of vinyl shopping extravaganza until the summer, because I am going on vacation with some youngest members, friends of mine. Where we're going, you'll have to wait and see once summer rolls around, but we are super stoked about it. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.